What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering, and it would appear Naughty Dog is reaching out, trying to deflect blame for all of the DMCA strikedowns that have been sweeping YouTube and even Reddit memes for the last couple of days. But I'm not so sure I buy it. There's been some new information about a patent for a spoiler blocking technology that Sony got just days before The Last of Us 2 leaked, which could indicate possibly that they knew that this was going to happen days in advance and tried to get out in front of it. Now let's take a look at all the new news that's come out. So firstly, Angry Joe did a video that said 2 different Naughty Dog employees reached out to him and are trying to make things right. He also seemed to indicate that it wasn't Naughty Dog themselves that was striking the videos, but a third-party company. Now, I'm not saying Joe's shilling for him here, but a lot of people have taken this information and said that, oh, see, it wasn't Naughty Dog. Sony good. Naughty Dog good. They didn't do anything bad. It was this third-party company called MUSOCOM. But as Nick Rekieta completely correctly points out, he says, I've been alerted to a theory that MUSO.com is responsible for the DMCAs rather than Naughty Dog or Sony. Let me help you in 2 screenshots. In the first screenshot, you see, OMG, Naughty Dog is owned by Sony. And then the second screenshot, MUSO.com is works for Sony. So to be very clear, any and all DMCAs that came down on any Naughty Dog footage was, of course, by extension, the absolute fault of Sony and or Naughty Dog. This is a third-party company. They exist. In fact, I think the companies that are going after, for example, Suzy Liu, they are a similar company. These companies' jobs are to enforce copyright for big brands. In this case, you've got Sony, you've got, I don't know, Vertical, IMG. You've got a couple of big clients that we see, and those are just who they show. And you see, Muso is a leading authority in digital piracy. Discover how Muso piracy data can drive value, provide insight, and protect your content online. So what their service is, of course, is to go out and find products and take them down. You can see over the past 10 years, Muso has built up an unrivaled understanding of fan engagement with unlicensed online content, tracking billions of visits through a complex world of sites and domains that has revealed behaviors that are of value to advertisers. So essentially, their job is to spy on people that are sailing the high seas. A fragmented and increasingly expensive to enter landscape continues to fuel the rise in visits to unlicensed content sites. So these are sites, you know, that maybe you might, if you were so inclined, you might go to stream a movie or a television show that isn't Hulu, that isn't Netflix. I've got a ridiculous story about Netflix later today too. Muso Connect allows advertisers to leverage strong bonds between fans and content by creating segments made available via programmatic advertising channels. Muso can connect advertisers to highly engaged but difficult to reach audiences, adding huge value. So they must have also some sort of advertising platform, but they also obviously do some DMCA protection stuff. So yes, of course, Sony and Naughty Dog are responsible for it, in spite of what their employees came out to say. Well, you know, they were, I mean, we pay them to do this, but we didn't have anything to do with it. Of course they did. Now, it would appear that most people have had their strikes removed. I'm assuming that Naughty Dog reached out to them and said, please stop making us look worse than we already do. But more interestingly, late afternoon, news broke that Sony was granted a patent for, quote, spoiler blocking technology just 2 days before The Last of Us 2 leaks. The technology will control the amount of spoilers a player comes in contact with until they've completed enough of the game. on the heels of Sony and Naughty Dog's overreach in abusing the DMCA system to cover up the leaks of The Last of Us 2. This is via Reclaim the Net, by the way. It has been revealed that Sony has patented new spoiler blocking technology, which could be coming alongside the new PlayStation 5 set to launch this year. Sony has devised a new system that is supposed to help players that are playing a game avoid spoilers online until they finish the game. Sony were granted this patent on April 23rd, 2020, just 4 days before the controversial and off-putting leaked scenes from the upcoming game The Last of Us 2 were leaked online. Simply put, the new patent pertains to a technology that allows Sony to prevent users from potentially spoiling the game they are currently playing or wanting to play. The tech behind the patent, however, does not prevent users from watching any content from any game that they have already played or from parts of the game that the player has already experienced. For instance, if a user had already cleared the first 2 parts of the game and is yet to clear the final 2, they may be prevented from learning any spoilers about the final 2 parts with no such restrictions around the first 2 parts that they have already played. How on earth does this work? Well, you have a local on-console setup where you have the game client, which is connected to the game server. Then you have uniform data, which connects to console system software, and a trophy local rule engine. So essentially, it's going to look at your trophies in-game to know how far you are in-game, to know what content is actually blocked online. I don't know how the heck this would work at all. Although there's no official announcement about the technology's full details, what the spoiler blocking technology may do, and here's what we know. Quote, the technology herein can allow players to engage with friends in the community around narrative games with the confidence that they will not accidentally see spoilers. A spoiler is a description of an important plot point. Yes, we all know what they are. Sony's effort in trying to shield users from spoilers is going to cause many to wonder how the company could achieve this without somehow having access to the user device and digital conversations, suggesting that such measures are likely to be rather intrusive. While we know that people are more than willing to give up personal privacy in exchange for a feeling of safety, we saw millions download an app in Australia that tracks your movements and tells you if you've been in contact with anybody who might be sick. Millions of people downloaded that and willingly gave the government access to their location at all times. Some people view video games as that important. As of May 6th, though, commentators get small win after Sony Naughty Dog burned through any remaining goodwill with copyright system abuse. Commentators are slowly being vindicated after The Last of Us 2 creators took advantage of the copyright system to silence criticism and even content that didn't contain any leaked imagery. Now, I'm not sure, again, how aggressive Naughty Dog and Sony told this third-party company to be. Because we don't know that, I'm not absolving Naughty Dog or Sony of any of this at all. They still employed this company. This company was acting on their behalf. Naughty Dog and Sony have been criticized heavily for the last week for their copyright system and taking advantage of it. Last week, we reported how Sony was using the system to strike down YouTubers and Twitter users to get their content taken down. Also Reddit, from what I could tell. In many cases, Sony wasn't even targeting those videos that contain any visual material from the leaked cutscenes of the upcoming Last of Us 2 sequel. They were also striking and flagging down videos just talking about the leaks. Now, I'm guessing that these companies might have some sort of incentive program where they can come back and say, look at all this stuff we struck down. And so maybe there's a financial incentive for these companies to be really sloppy. More shockingly, YouTuber Mara Jade of the Jade Shadow channel recently got struck by Sony with a copyright notice for a video in which she discussed Sony's copyright system and abuses. Jade recently uploaded a video on May 4th where she talked about Sony and Naughty Dog using the DMCA system. The video got removed from YouTube on the grounds of copyright violation. While Jade simply read an article about Sony and Naughty Dog doing this, it would appear that they're looking to crush any dissent against their doings. Her video was taken down by copyright strike. Quite ironically, Jade naturally went on to release another video about the whole fiasco. The overreach when it comes to the striking and removing videos has led many to believe that Sony and Naughty Dog are no longer just trying to prevent leaks from spreading about the upcoming game. They're actively trying to suppress any criticism against them. Well, if you look at, just as a perfect example, if we look at the Naughty Dog Twitter, right? If we look at that from yesterday, here's something that's always interesting. Yesterday, they released a brand new trailer. And look, 40,000 people still liked it. There's obviously still a lot of people excited for this game, and they should be if they want to be. That's the reality of it. But if you notice now on Twitter, if you see this little icon down here, I don't know if it's coming through very well. This is what you see when they are actively hiding replies. So if you click on that, you get to see the replies, and it's all memes. It's all memes. And also, though, there are also particular examples of where they're just hiding replies about the strikes. All right. So I don't know. I don't believe. I don't believe for a second that Naughty Dog and Sony don't know about this. Do I think they probably told this company to back off? Well, if they're smart, they probably would. I'm interested to hear, is there anybody still out there interested in picking up this game? Has Naughty Dog burned all the goodwill that you had for them? Let me know in the comment section down below. Hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.